On this week's show, we get to see Cody live from LA on the bike.
And Peloton celebrated World Mental Health Day with new content and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 57 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by my co-host, John Pruitt. Hey, John.
Hey now, Amanda. How are you?
I am good. I am very good. I am back down in Florida, so I'm feeling very happy with being down here, and weather's gorgeous. We're here for a friend's wedding for this weekend, so that's kind of fun. Yeah, got to see my daughter. She's on fall break from the University of Miami, so it's all good. I have nothing to complain about. How about you?
Nice. No, just another week that's gone by super fast, and
it's insane.
Come and gone.
I mean, it is really, before we know it, we're going to be in November and we're going to be celebrating, American Thanksgiving, and then we're going to be Christmas time and it's going to be a new year. I mean, it's insane.
Traipsing around in snow and dealing with that mess. It's coming.
I know. Before we know it.
I know. I'll be busting out my parka pretty soon.
Right. Well, John, we have lots to chat about. So, folks, before we get started with the news, we do like to remind you of how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button never to miss an episode.
Yeah, and if you also want to listen to us while you're on the go, we're on all podcast platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy TV, click subscribe, hit the notification button so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review if you like the show. If you have any feedback or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we got quite a few this week, John. I know that folks have been DMing you and I, which has been great. But go ahead and make sure that you leave a review either on the podcast or on YouTube so that we can share it with everybody. But it has been fun to know that folks are really enjoying the show. And it seems, John, folks are really enjoying our Pics of the week. So that's been so cool. Uh-huh. That's really been cool. And of course, folks, we are on Facebook and Instagram. So just search the Pelo Buddy icon and follow us on those platforms for the latest news. And I guess, John, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. So are we going to be seeing a temporary Peloton studio in Los Angeles for Cody Rigsby? Yes, we are. With Cody joining the Dancing with the Stars celebrity lineup, the biggest on everybody's mind was what's going to happen to our classes. We had previously reported on the show that Cody would be going back and forth between LA and New York and would be teaching a few live classes. But it looks like that will be changing. So on Monday, Cody and his Dancing with the Stars partner, Cheryl Burke, were interviewed on Extra, and Jen Lamers asked Cody outright about his Peloton schedule. I wonder, John, if she's a Peloton user and therefore really wanted to know what was going on because she was missing him on the leaderboard. But you know what? Cody quite openly announced that Peloton would be creating a temporary secondary studio for him in LA that he would be able to teach classes from. Kind of like those at-home classes we all became quite familiar with when the studio shut down last year due to COVID. It certainly makes sense, John, considering the back and forth was not optimal. I can only imagine how exhausted Cody must have been, the time difference and being on a plane. And of course, having gotten COVID, I'm sure was just an indicator that it's just not safe for him to go back and forward. So, Cody...
You could tell he was tired in the classes, in the few classes that he's taught since he begun Dancing with Stars. You could definitely tell he was fatigued a bit. So it's
I don't
obviously
blame him. I mean, it
him.
had to have been, you know, exactly. And you know what, John, this way it gets him to be able to perfect his dance moves with Cheryl in, in LA and give all us Peloton fanatics what we all want is to see him on the bike. So Cody did confirm on his Instagram just this past Thursday that his first class would in fact be live from LA at 8 p.m. Eastern time. He did a 30-minute pop ride. On Friday, he went on to do a second class. He did a 30-minute intervals and arms. And then next week, we will see him on the schedule. He's got a Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday class that will be live from LA. So really happy that everybody gets the best of both worlds. They'll get to enjoy Cody on Monday and Tuesday, possibly. I think from next week, it's only just 1 week, right? I think it was, you'll talk about it in the next
dance
story.
Performances?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be one night.
It's not a double. Yeah, it's not a double header like Disney Week.
So he'll dance Monday and then be ready to jump on the bike on Tuesdays for all of us. So I think that's really cool that Peloton have made it work for him.
I know I was bummed though. I was all excited on Thursday because he was supposed to do a 45-minute boot camp, which I think Peloton just probably forgot to take it off the schedule or cancel it.
Oh, okay.
Because it was on the schedule up until 11:30 in the morning Eastern time. And then all of a sudden I got the notification and I was so, I was annoyed. Cause I was really, I just thought at this point, it's definitely going to happen. And then I got that notification. And I even posted in my Insta stories a previous funny clip of a boot camp moment, being all excited about it. And then my very next story, 10 minutes later, was the cancellation notice email that I got. So that just bummed me out for the rest of Thursday. But
I'm sure it's probably hard for him to be able to do that as well. But I'm sure it's probably hard for him to do the boot camps. I mean,
it was making me wonder if he was going to be able to teach boot camp from a temporary studio because he's got to transition from the floor to the bike, and they probably only have one fixed camera. But that was I was a little annoyed about that, but at least he's got, his live.
Well, don't be, because at least we know exactly. At least we know we've got him on the schedule 3 times in the week. It looks like that's going to be his, pretty standard schedule while he's dancing. So
in the evening, it looks like all evening rides. So
because of the time change probably as well. So that makes sense. That makes sense for him. So tell us about what this the last week on DTWS was.
So Dancing with the Stars Disney Week, we got a double header. So we had performances Monday and Tuesday night for anyone that missed it. So the first night on Monday was Disney Heroes, everyone dancing to a Disney hero themed song. So Cheryl and Cody, they danced the jive to the song Stand Out, which is from a Goofy movie, which I'm not familiar with the Goofy movie at all. So that was kind of it seemed obscure to me. It seemed like an obscure pick to choose in terms of Disney classics. But Cody was like in basically a yellow jumpsuit, and he had this hair attachment that just was like a big spike sticking up almost, it was like, there's something about Mary kind of reminiscent of that scene with Cameron Diaz. And even Derek Hoff said after the performance, is that your real hair, Cody? And he said, no, it's just an add, just a piece that they, glued on there. But they danced the jive. The funny thing was Cody had right towards the end of the performance, when he dipped Cheryl down, he split his pants. And he joked about it later in his Insta stories. He showed a picture of somebody trying to sew up this big tear, which I didn't even notice after, when they were doing the judges' scoring. But a lot of as usual, a lot of folks, including myself, were kind of disappointed with the score that they received. Kind of unfair criticisms from the judges, and the audience in the ballroom is very vocal which I'm glad to see, because the judges react. At one point, Derek Huff was like, "Is there a hiss in here?" When they started booing their criticisms of Cody and Cheryl, but they received a total of 27 out of 40 possible points from the 4 judges. And Tuesday night, and they were fine. They were safe. They weren't facing elimination this week. So I'm sure the vote is, I guess, about 50% of it. So I'm sure we showed up as usual, getting the vote out for Cody and Cheryl. But Tuesday night was the following night was Disney villains themed. So Cody and Cheryl, they danced the Viennese waltz to Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, which was a lot of fun. Cody had, he was all dressed up as Gaston in the bar scene when he's, jumping around on the tables and spitting. And that was a lot of fun. And they did receive a little better of a score. They received 31 out of 40 points for a combined total between the 2 nights of 58 out of 80. So next week, it's back to just one night, and they're going to be dancing to Grease. So as of right now, I don't know if it's been revealed what their number is. I'm sure by the time this recording is out, we'll obviously know more then, but it was still a fun 2 nights in a row of Disney themed music that we got to see.
All right, I guess we'll have to wait for next week to see. That will be exciting, though, to see what they end up doing.
It was a lot of fun, though. Monday night, I know who was there. Emma, Jess Sims, and Robin were all dressed up to the nines and in the audience, and they were posting on social before, during, and after. And also, a Boo Crew member had messaged me that she was there as an audience member in attendance. So she got to take a picture with all 3 of them, and then sent me some video before the start of before the live broadcast. So I was completely jealous of her getting to be there on Monday night. And then the second night, Kendall Toole was there in the audience. So it was great to see the coaches showing up. And I know Tunde was out in LA. But she was there for something completely unrelated to. Okay,
I was wondering about that, because I did see her on her social that she was out there, and I was surprised she wasn't there as well. But maybe he could only have 3 people. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably we'll probably find out what she was there for, if it was Peloton related or something totally else, totally different.
Right. But it was really cool to see the support, eh?
Yeah, it was great to see some Peloton folks, in the audience there, and they did some brief, cuts to them, cheering it up, clapping for them at different times. So that was fun.
Yeah. Now I have to say, I thought it was fantastic. And as you said, they were dressed to the nines. They looked stunning. And they were saying 2 hours of clapping and standing in heels was definitely challenging, but it's worth it. It was worth it for their boo. That's no question. It was worth it. John.
On Emma's recent pop ride that I did from Thursday, this past Thursday, she did mention when we were in a 4 or 5 minute climb, she goes, I was just in LA, standing up for 2 hours, waiting in line for Cody. So this is a walk in the park compared to that.
Yeah, I love that they did reference having been out there, which was great. But you know what? I have to tell you, it is, and I'm sure viewers and listeners that watch the show feel the same way, in that it's frustrating. It seems like they have something, maybe because he's got such a huge, I would imagine he probably gets the most votes out of everybody. He's got to. The way that everybody is behind him from Peloton and the Boo Crew and, everybody. Everyone's got their kids, their husbands, their parents, everybody voting.
I know, but the judges, maybe the judges are extra hard on him because he has that professional dance background. I don't know, but either way, I feel like they're kind of treating him like the dark horse, and hopefully they're conspiring that he's going to pull out the upset win in the end, because the Olivia Jade, Lori Loughlin's daughter, who I can't stand. I just think it's
okay. Tell us how you feel.
We won't even
how
get.
You really feel.
I just think it's just like it's her redemption story. Like she's 20 years old or something. Like she has her whole life ahead of her, and they're just so overly nice to her.
I know.
It just seems like they just give her the best scores every time. So I can't stand.
But you know what? What I love about Cody, he has such an FU attitude that I think that he is going to rise above it, and he is going to surprise us all. I mean, look, there are clearly amazing dancers on there. There's no question that some of them are really good, and it's going to be tough competition towards the end, but he's going to make it pretty far. Yeah. I've said this before, so I guess it's 1 week at a time.
They seem to heavily favor Olivia Jade and JoJo. Those kind of seem to be the judges' favorites, but I have no doubt as well he's going to go far. So I'm not worried.
We'll all watch patiently, and we'll all continue to do our voting. So for those folks that watch our show, make sure you vote on a Monday night. If you are in the States, make sure you do it, because we need every single vote we can get. Yep.
Get your 10 texts via vote online. And 10 texts via the ABC website. Yep.
Exactly. So switching gears, John, from the amazing week that we had watching Cody to acknowledging that last Sunday, October the 10th, was World Mental Health Day. And Peloton once again offered members a special new collection of classes on the bike, tread, and the mat. The marketing campaign for this was, "What did you do for you today?" And I love that quote, because I think we sometimes do forget about ourselves. We're always worrying about our kids or our parents or our, partners. And sometimes we just really don't take a breath for ourselves. So these classes, Peloton had said, really were intended to encourage members to take time for themselves and to connect with one's own mental health, which I think sometimes we neglect to do. So it was at a perfect time, because obviously they had the pause and reflect, 3-day break for the coaches. And I'll tell you, John, there was a pretty awesome lineup that they presented to us. So there was tons to do on the platform, from yoga flows with Anna Greenberg and Mariana Fernandez, to rides with Kendall, Ben, and even Eric, a German ride with him, to an unbelievable run with Selena Samuela. Pelobuddy.com has a full list of what was offered. And folks, if you haven't had a chance to jump on any of the modalities on the platform, I really do encourage you to do so. Without giving away too much for this week's Pics of the Week, there are some that are not to be missed. And of course, those of you that are Hungry Badge members, you will get a very pretty green Mental Health Day badge for having done one of the activities. So that was really cool. And as I said, there were really some amazing classes on there. To note, in addition to the new classes, Peloton actually shared that they are partnering with a new organization in Australia called Beyond Blue. So, folks, Beyond Blue is an organization committed to helping everyone in Australia achieve their best possible mental health. Peloton had shared that together with Beyond Blue, they will support the creation of peer-to-peer online communities, which will increase connectedness and reduce stigma around mental health. So that was really cool to see that they are branching out, to other areas, not just keeping it within the States. And they're partnering now, as they are getting more and more popular in Australia, looking for partners with different things that they're doing. So I really like to see that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, in other announcements, so we're getting some of our favorite rides, class series, popular class series are returning. So Peloton just last week announced several different series that are returning to the platform. So Robin, just on Friday, October 15th, she had a Together We Ride. That series returned. Allie Love Sundays with Love returned as well on Sunday the 17th. And there's also a new blog post with basically a letter penned from Allie about the return of the series. on One Peloton's blog, which we also link to on pelobuddy.com if you haven't seen the post. Flow and Let It Go series is returning with the DT. And I had just noticed on the schedule a couple weeks ahead, the Cover to Cover series with Jen Sherman returns on Sunday, the 24th. And if you've never done that one, it's all, covers of some of our favorite, tracks, favorite music tracks. I don't know. I'm curious, there's been no mention of the pregame football series, which Jen was very quiet about it. You ask those questions and either they just never respond to it or they just completely avoid answering it because they have to be so tight-lipped about it. Yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't count it completely out because, the football season, we're in week 4 or 5 right now of NFL football. Right. So, it's very well could come back, but, you're never going to get a straight answer from Jen's not going to go through the details. Yeah. So hopefully I would think it would come back. A lot of people love that ride series. A lot of people aren't fans of it. It's a hard ride series. It works you like you're preparing for, a
football game
to compete in a sporting event. Yeah. But the tracks on it are usually pretty fun and get you pumped up. They're jock jams, like music you would hear at the stadium, during the game and beforehand. Jess King Experience. That's another one. The Jess King Experience returns on Thursday, October 24th. And then last but not least, with our boo Cody, XOXO Cody returns. This one's a ways away. I mean, I'm going to forget about this for 2 months, but that series returns on Tuesday, December 14th. But the XOXO Cody series is always fun because he does a little Q&A where you submit questions in advance and he does a Q&A halfway in the ride usually. And he'll read some funny questions and give some really hilarious responses to them. But that one's always fun. So I'm sure that one will kick off. I'm sure it'll be holiday themed, for Christmas, because it's only a couple weeks before the Christmas holiday.
I guess they're waiting for him to be done with, with Dancing with the Stars before they get him on the schedule for that. So that makes sense.
It'll be back at PSNY for that, and not at the LA Live from LA, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah.
So
we also actually saw, John, this past week, 2 new artist series drops. The first was something called Bad Bunny. They are, and that basically Bad Bunny wrapped up the Latinx Heritage Month that Peloton had been celebrating through the month of October. They dropped a ride and a yoga class featuring the music of Puerto Rican singer and songwriter. Bad Bunny is a hip hop, Latin trap, and reggaeton artist who is also known for his versatility as a performer. This is actually the second artist series for Bad Bunny. He was featured back in October 2019 in a 30-minute ride with Cody. Exactly. Yeah. So if you loved that series back in 2019, you got to ride with him again. So I did not get to do that series, unfortunately, but there just isn't enough time in the day to get everything on the platform done. There was a lot this week going on, a lot. There actually was a second artist series to drop, and that was with English songwriter, singer, and rapper Labrinth. I probably pronounced that incorrectly.
Labrinth or Labyrinth? Is it Labrinth or Labyrinth?
I think it may be Labrinth. I did actually listen to Labrinth. I think you're right. It's Labrinth. Only one class was released, and Hannah Frankson was the one who got the honors. Her ride dropped live on Thursday, October the 14th, with a 30-minute class. And one can assume, although not mentioned in the announcement, that the artist series was likely part of Peloton's UK Black History Month celebration. That's kind of what what I just assumed, having been kind of at the end of that. Hannah did jump on social media, John, though, and she did that on Wednesday evening, and she shared her excitement and appreciation of being able to honor this artist. She had gone on to say that his music had really impacted her when she was younger, and how this was a guy from Hackney, East London, and that it made her a believer that anyone can do anything they want. So it just showed that I guess he, came from a different environment, and this was an opportunity that this guy just grew very big in the UK. She actually also shared on her Instagram story that he had produced the Lion King soundtrack. And I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool too. So, the ride was awesome. She did that on Thursday, and she was hyped. She really was hyped about it.
So you did that one live?
I did not do it. I just saw her Instagram before and after, and she was really excited about it.
the pre and post ride reactions.
Correct. I wasn't able to do it on Thursday, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, you know, when I first saw that ride series, I messaged in the group chat with y'all. I looked at it and I was like, is this an 80s Jim Henson like Labrinth movie themed ride for a brief second? And then I realized.
Yeah. And then you realized that, what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been fun. A David Bowie themed Labyrinth movie. Anyways. So in other class news, Peloton recently celebrated National Coming Out Day, which was this past Monday, October 11th, with 2 Pride 365 classes, Amanda. One was from Matty Maggiacomo. He did a 30-minute Pride 365 full body strength. And then there was also a 30-minute Pride 365 ride with Jess King, which both dropped that Monday, right smack dab in the middle of the pause and reflect break that Peloton was on. So check those out if you haven't already done them. They're described as a celebration of the LGBTQ plus community and the courage required to come out. The courage. Sorry, I'm messing this up now. And the courage required to come with love for yourself and who you are. I did not have a chance to do. I'm so behind on. I just can't keep up. I'm
telling you.
I did a couple. I'd been saving some on-demand stuff specifically for that little 3-day break that we had. Yeah. But it's just I just can't keep up with all that. There's just so much stuff to
there is too much
new
stuff.
content. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Exactly. Well, I think that's also what's helpful, by doing Pics of the Week, because it gives folks some idea as to some of the stuff that you and I get to take. But there's so much that's out there that we don't even get to touch, that you just don't get the opportunity. I mean, that we have to still have lives. So, yeah. Well, if you're not on the bike, you're buying apparel. So more apparel has come our way, folks. Thursday, Peloton dropped yet another apparel drop and accessories, and one could find that in the stores and on the website. With fall here, we saw a cute knit beanie. In a cute, like a fuchsia color.
That. It was a red, reddish,
it was kind of a reddish
cranberry.
Fuchsia color. Cranberry, that's actually a good, better. Yep.
It was a little darker.
Really cool Sherpa reversible bomber jacket. There are 2 great tote bags. Love them both. And John, I have to say, Peloton has really upped their game with launching their own apparel line. I think the stuff is awesome. And, I have also noticed the increase of inventory of non-athletic wear. So they had a flannel shirt, but not even that. They had like a flannel shirt. They had a jogger set. They had a puffer vest. There's really something for everybody. So if you're not particularly buying activewear to wear, on the platform, I mean, they're wanting to get their brand out there regardless. So it's, it's whether you're wearing a coat, whether you're wearing a hat, whether you're toting your bag. It's not just about being on your bike anymore. They really have done a fantastic, fantastic job. I have not. It was a busy weekend with, celebrating my our daughter's wedding. So I didn't have a chance to jump on and take a look. But, as we've said in past episodes, I'm not so worried about it not being there when I go to look next week because, they have so much inventory now, which is great.
Yeah. You don't have to, get up at the crack of dawn and constantly refresh like so many members have done in the past. I had been totally out of the apparel game, for a while. And then, like 1 or 2 drops ago, once they, rebranded, I got a bunch of shirts, and I'm loving the stuff that I got. And I burned 2 referral codes on this latest drop from Thursday. I got the vintage hoodie. I like the hoodies, but the zip up. I don't like the pullover because your hair gets all staticky and messed up. And I like to just if I want to ventilate a little bit, I just unzip it. More cash. But I got 3 different shirts, and I did notice what I also like too, Amanda, is they'll preview some different items randomly that aren't available yet. So I noticed there was a zip-up track jacket with pants. So I entered my email to be notified once it's available. But
that's awesome.
a lot of good options.
That.
Yeah, a lot of good. And I love just the t-shirts, the short sleeve t-shirts. Yeah. So a few different I got a sort of a very red, sort of Pelo red one that's sort of a mesh style fit. And then there's a blue one that Matty Maggiacomo was modeling that I really liked. So some good options for the men's too.
Yeah. No, I love how they've really taken this to a different level. I wasn't sure about it in the beginning, but I have to tell you, it's fantastic.
I have noticed I've had to, I don't know if it's because I've dropped some weight in the past couple of months, but I used to always wear large in the shirt size. Now I'm wearing mediums.
Good for you. That's awesome.
I do like the fact that they have a model. They have models wearing the different apparel, and they say the height and waist size and what size shirt they're wearing. But then they also have the instructor wearing it too, and they'll say what size the instructor is wearing. And Matty's kind of similar. He's like he's a 6'2". Same height as me, and he wears medium as well. So that's definitely a nice little reference. I like that.
To know what size you should be getting.
How they include that detail. Because it's if you use a code to buy something and then you need to return it, it's kind of a pain.
It's a pain
to send it back and then to get a partial credit on a new code, and then you're burning your money on if you're paying for shipping. So if I use stuff for codes, I don't want to have to mess around with, sending it back.
Sizing.
So,
sure.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of good options.
Good.
And other news, we had a few new, some coaches have formed some new partnerships with some apparel companies. So Selena Samuela just announced a new partnership with New Balance as an ambassador for them. So I'm sure we'll be seeing some ads pop up and seeing her, wearing some New Balance, apparel here and there. I'm sure she's a big fan of their sneakers for running. And then Olivia Amato also recently announced that she had signed a partnership with Puma. So she joins Alex Toussaint, who just recently, the week or two before that, had also announced a partnership with Puma as well. So
that's right.
Coaches are collecting those checks.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. I mean, they're definitely out there and, getting their faces in front of everyone. I did love seeing, not that it was a sponsor, it was actually for Peloton, but I did love seeing Kendall when she was in LA. I don't know if you saw that on her Instagram. She was standing underneath herself and kind of pointing to her picture.
Was it in her showroom?
No, it was actually in LA. It was at a mall. I think it was at one of the malls.
Outside of, I think it was outside of one of the Peloton showrooms, right? Was it? Because she mentioned
could have been.
She mentioned in the post, I think this is related to the same thing she had posted, but she had mentioned how she had gone to that showroom before it was announced she would be when she was training, to be a Peloton instructor.
I didn't see
she had gone there. I think she said she had gone there to ride there. I guess she didn't have her own Peloton bike yet, so she had done some training there, she said, at that showroom. So that was that was the tie-in. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Hopefully that's accurate.
Talking about Kendall, it was good to see Kendall back too. She'd been gone for a while, so it was nice to see it was nice to see her back on the leaderboard.
Yeah, road tripping all over the US. And I know she Kendall, I don't have the it's some sort of performance energy drink that she was featured in ads for, but the ads were featured at local Subway restaurants.
Oh, wow.
So like her picture with another famous athlete for this energy drink or performance drink, however it's categorized. X something.
I know we spoke about it on the show at one point. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but yeah.
But she would be in ads, posters on windows of different Subway chains. Subway sandwich chains. Yeah.
How cool. I mean, they're exploding. These instructors are absolutely exploding. Yeah, John, well, we're gonna move continents over to Australia, and the Australians can actually finally view and test the products they are purchasing. The Australian showrooms, John, are starting to open. So the Martin Place and Bondi Junction showrooms in Sydney are now open to the public. Customers can book a time to test the bikes, check out the accessories, and purchase the Peloton branded apparel right from the stores. So there's been a lot of chatter on the official Peloton Facebook page where folks are actually doing meetups. They're meeting up at the at the Bondi Junction and the Martin Street stores, just kind of to go in and see, which I think is kind of cool. I saw that Miza Wong, who I had interviewed on the show a couple months ago, she's very active and she was talking about that. So that was really cool. There's also going to be shops in shops opening up. So a 30 square meter area is going to be set up in the menswear department of David Jones' flagship store on Elizabeth Street in Sydney. So a big retailer in the Australian market. And then there are two more that will be opening in the Burke Street and Chatstone stores in Melbourne. So this is really exciting for the Australians. And of course, it's so brilliant for the brand because getting into, kind of like they did in Harrods, and they have a shop in Harrods. We see them all over the place. So it just exposes folks to Peloton that maybe would not have been otherwise. So I really liked to see that.
When you say shop, is this a little apparel pop-up within an existing retail space?
Correct. And it's not just apparel. So what they're actually doing is they're taking space and they're putting in like a bike and apparel, and they've got somebody representing Peloton within that store. So I've seen it for different brands over the years. And they've done it in Harrods. Harrods actually have a huge shop in shop. So they've got a huge space in London where they have, I don't know if they have a tread in there, but they do have the bike. And so it's actually physically in these stores.
Are these
John Lewis, I think, was another one.
I like to...
Yeah, John Lewis in the UK have bikes and treads as well.
I like to call them rage cages, but are these similar to the little black pop-up cages that they have at a lot of US, where it's not a full retail space? It's
different. So correct. So I think, and they have, I know they have those too. I mean, New York, I was just in Brookfield Place down in Tribeca, where they've got one of those cages where it's kind of like a freestanding little thing inside the area where you
outside
kind of walk around.
Of the store.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what they're doing in Sydney, what they're doing in Melbourne and Sydney is actually physically in. So imagine like a Nordstrom and having kind of like a pop-up in Nordstrom of Peloton.
Gotcha.
And I know that like Nordstrom have Mirror, for example. I noticed that, I don't go into the malls that often anymore. But when I did go, I did see that they did have that. So it's kind of like that same concept of having it within the brand. So so that's exciting for the Australians. And, now cool. They can actually, because up till this point, John, folks weren't able to test it. You couldn't go into a store ever. They'd been in this hectic lockdown where they couldn't even go in and get to test it. So people were buying them, completely cold, just off the marketing that they were doing for it. So pretty impressive. And then next up, John, instructors in the news. So first up, so first up, we got an inside peek, thanks to social media, into the engagement parties of both Ben and Leanne and Selena and her fiance, Matt. They were both held last week. Selena first shared her gorgeous party, which was held at the Gansevoort in the meatpacking area in Manhattan. It looked amazing, John, with lots of fellow Peloton instructors in attendance. We saw Ali Love, Andy and Rebecca were kind of out there for us to see them together. We haven't mentioned them. Yeah, we're gonna. Yep. So Andy and Rebecca were out there. Emma Lovewell, Jess King and her fiance Sophia. Of course, DJ John Michael, Jess Sims, Bex Gentry, Tunde. Did I miss anybody? I quite possibly could have. I think I got everybody.
Yeah. I'm just trying to visualize the picture that they posted.
Yeah. But, but it all seemed that they had the most fabulous time. And then last Sunday, Ben and Leanne had their engagement party at a very cool bar in London called the Little Orange Door. And all I can say, John, is if you saw how gorgeous Leanne looked in her engagement dress, I'm not sure how she does any better for her wedding dress. It is going to be a very tall order. She looked absolutely, I mean, I will tell you, so did Selena. Selena looked spectacular, so much so that I actually called one of my girlfriends who's a big Selena squad person. She runs with her all the time and does a lot of her strength. And I said to her, Tracy, is that Selena? It didn't even look like her. She was made up. Her hair was pulled back. She was wearing a sequined dress. She looked spectacular. And I have to tell you that
she has a lot of different looks. She really,
she does, doesn't she?
She's very captivating. Yeah.
Beautiful. And of course, Leanne just looked spectacular. I mean, I'm going to say that irrespective, but she really did. Her dress was very sparkly. It was a sparkly beaded white gown. But you know what, John, what was so lovely to see is Hannah Frankson and Sam Yo were there. And the two, and Ben and Leanne did have a very special guest in attendance, Ross Rayburn. Ross happened to have been in London, we think, on holiday, or was he? Some are speculating that maybe he was meeting with Sam Yo to guide him through bringing him on board to do meditations from the London studio. There's definitely some chatter about that. Ross did not state anything. All he did was he did post on his Instagram a pic in front of the studio, sharing that he had gotten a tour of the London studio. But he didn't give away, there was no mention of working.
There's no reveal. Right.
No reveal of working. So who knows? I mean, we all like to speculate.
I did see that Sam and Ross took in a show at the London Theatre.
They did. They went to see, it was Romeo and Juliet. So they went to see Romeo and Juliet together, and Sam had on his little tie. It was very cute, and it was lovely to see the two of them. It was lovely to see the two of them together. So
nice to see that people still dress up for the theater too.
Oh, in the UK, absolutely.
Yeah,
but it was really fun to see. It was fun to see. So these engagement parties, I did message Leanne and I go, can I be your friend? I said, because I want to be at your party. She had a saxophonist doing there, and they were dancing until all hours, and it just looked so much fun. So I can only imagine what this wedding is going to be like. I'm sure spectacular as I'm sure Selena's will be as well. And then John, Olivia Marto was featured in Shape.com. She actually was sharing why she changed her path from finance to fitness. So folks, you can head over to pelobuddy.com to go ahead and get to read the full article. But Olivia is yet another one, which I thought was interesting. I did not know that about Olivia, but she too had been in the corporate world before she became an instructor. So it was pretty cool to read about that.
She had a brief stint in the financial world.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think it was like a hedge firm, financial analyst type job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's not in our lineup, but we do need to mention the fact that since our last recording,
We do.
Rebecca Kennedy and Andy Spear finally publicly came out and announced that they are indeed dating. So it's out there now. They're now in each other's pictures and social media, Insta stories, which is fun. I'd always kind of figured that for a while, but it's just great that they're now, public about it, because I think they're a fantastic couple. I mean, I love both of them, and I think their personalities are perfect for one another. So I'm super happy for the two of them, that they're out there now.
And they're entitled. You know what? I remember with Ben and Leanne as well. I mean, they I'm sure were navigating, working with one another and having a relationship. And obviously, it's such a family, and how they all are, how all the instructors are friends with one another. So I'm sure it was tough, to be able to determine what that next step was. But, we had kind of hinted back in the summer, right, John? I think back in the summer, and we both said it's not our news to tell, that when it comes out, it needs to be, their news.
Yeah, we don't want to be all TMZ about it, but
exactly.
I had more so than speculated. I had hoped, deep down, that they were in fact a couple, because they're just hilarious, the two of them together.
They're great.
They're just great. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I
did message her, and I said, Rebecca, I'm so glad that that it's finally out there. I said, because John and I couldn't hold it in anymore. We just wanted to be able to talk about this. She was very cute, and she said she's so excited.
I kidded Andy, and I said, now you don't have to be so quiet on the weekends. When I know you're hanging out with Rebecca, you can actually post and be seen in the background.
Too funny. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Well, in other instructor tidbits, Robin Arzon was recently interviewed in Parents magazine Latina. And this article is titled Peloton's Robin Arzon on how she's raising her daughter to be brave. And it gives some of her routine tidbits, but also just some little things, Robin's favorite things. So her number one workout tune is Mi Gente by J Balvin. She said her favorite music is salsa, because she loves to move around and wiggle with baby Athena. Favorite bedtime book is Little People, Big Dreams by Isabella Vergara. Her mom mantra is superheroes are real, and her must-have baby toy is the Fisher-Price baby biceps kettlebell rattle. So just some random funny little tidbits about her, setting aside her mommy time with Athena, and separating the work life and home balance with her husband and her young daughter. So that was a nice read.
Yeah, it is nice to see her. It's going to be hard to juggle and be in the public eye, and, people question. I'm sure people say, oh, well, what's she doing here or that. So it's nice to be able to just have her share that. That was a cool article. And then Leanne was actually featured this past week on English podcaster Emma Gunn's, the Emma Gunn's Show. It was a podcast that she did. The topic was feel good habits, and Emma chatted to Leanne about her 5 feel-good habits. I loved the podcast. Of course, I listened to it the minute I saw that it was out. And what are Leanne's 5 feel-good habits? So they are 1, exercise, duh. But in reality, we all know how much better we feel after we've worked out. Sometimes you dread going to do it because you're tired, or, it's after a long day. But after you do it, the endorphins kick in and one feels amazing. And she said, even that's her job, she makes sure that she makes time for it when she's, not on the bike and she's not coaching or instructing. So that was number 1. Number 2 is music. And, often you'll hear Leanne say in classes how music is magic. She shares that her taste of music is pretty diverse, and she pretty much likes everything. So it can be quite frustrating sometimes, because she doesn't have one specific genre that she likes. But for her, she says that she always has music on. So whether it's, planning her classes and working on her class plan and going through music from that perspective, or just having music on in the background. And, she said she'll always be dancing. I mean, she's a dancer by profession, originally. So I can get that. And then interesting hydration. She said so many folks forget about how important hydration is. She says she never leaves the house without a water bottle, and that knowing that she's hydrated always makes her feel good. The fourth was taking time to be in the moment. And, she said certainly in her life right now, it can sometimes be so unbelievably rushed. And she says that sometimes she's finding that she's, running to the studio or running to a meeting or is constantly, busy and she just sometimes won't stop to just take in that moment. And I think it's important for us all to really get that point, because we do tend to feel that we're spinning like a hamster on a hamster wheel, right? And we don't take the opportunity. Yeah, constantly.
Next,
it's crazy. And then the last one, which I loved, and Emma actually had a really cool story that she shared, was Leanne said decluttering. So she said something that her and Ben have taken to is that once, even twice a year, they do a complete declutter where they go through stuff and they send it to charity, or they'll take stuff out of their wardrobes and their closets, and that's been something that's been incredibly therapeutic and made her feel good. And Emma went on to say, which I really thought was interesting, that there was a program that she did where you had to have only 30 articles in your closet. So it didn't include underwear. So your underwear you could stay, but between shoes and clothes, and you had to pack up the rest. And then if you really missed it, you could obviously go back to it. But it was a program that she did. I think it was 60 days that she did it, that she had to do it for, where she could only have 30 articles in her closet. So
that sounds very Marie Kondo.
Right. I'm telling you.
Right,
Yeah. So that was interesting, but it was a great podcast, and you can certainly head over to Pelo Buddy if you want to take a listen to it.
Cool. Well, in other brand, partnerships, ads, Cody Rigsby is promoting a new drink. So last week, yogurt company Chobani announced its first ever celebrity co-branded product with Cody. So the limited edition Chobani Complete Mixed Berry Vanilla Shake, Cody Rigsby edition, will be available. It should be rolling out right around now. It's mid-October. It's coming out. It has 25 grams of high-quality protein with all the essential amino acids. That sounds like a commercial right now. All the essential amino acids needed. I'm giving Cody a free plug for his new product. Amino acids needed for building muscle, making it a functional and delicious pre- and post-workout snack for everyday athletes and fitness professionals. And Cody was quoted as saying that he's been a fan of Chobani yogurt for many years. So it's basically a partnership made in heaven for him, as we both love making sweat and nutrition accessible to all levels of fitness fans, says Cody. So keep an eye out in your supermarket store shelves, and in the maybe in the cooler. I guess it's probably in the refrigerated section, I would think. Yeah,
they really have been busy, these instructors, right?
I know.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Promoting all those different products. Good for them.
I'm telling you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, John, lastly, Peloton was actually featured in CNBC.com on how they built a community around health and wellness to craft their brand. So Dara Tressida, Peloton's chief marketing officer, talks about how they invest in their instructors to help grow the business. So definitely head over to pelobuddy.com to read that full article. But it was nice to see them featured in CNBC. Nice. And that, I believe, John, wraps it up for the news in total. But folks, what's up next?
Picks of the week.
Picks of the week. So, John, I'm giving you the floor. Go ahead.
All right. Let's get right into it. So, as I said earlier during the pause and reflect time when Peloton was not doing any live classes, one of the first rides I'd been saving and very excited to do was an Ally Love 45-minute 80s ride from September 19th. And I will say this is one of the best 80s playlists I've ever taken on a ride. It was that good. You'd have the Commodore. It starts off with the Commodores All Night Long, Phil Collins' Susudio, DeBarge's Rhythm of the Night, which is a great 80s song I'll never get tired of hearing that on a ride. Madonna, Springsteen, Simple Minds, just an amazing, super fun ride. If you haven't taken that one, take it again, because it's definitely a great ride to do over again. But super fun playlist, just all great 80s pop hits in there. And then also there was a tread boot camp class that I had been saving up from Andy Spear, a 45-minute rock tread boot camp for my boy Andy. Great mix of Creedence Clearwater, Rolling Stones. He had Grateful Dead and Fish, two of my favorite bands, and some Motley Crue. And it was fun. And he wore a Fish themed bandana that I had actually sent him a while ago. I sent him a few different bandanas with the Fish jam band with the donut pattern that they're known for the drummer John Fishman. So he was wearing that in the boot camp, which was a lot of fun. But a great strength workout, great run there. And then Robin Arzon, probably one of the hardest rides I've ever taken. So you've got the super fun 80s ride with Allie. And then on the other end of the spectrum, sorry, the dog is jumping up. She's trying to get into the camera here. And then a Robin Arzon 45-minute Hidden Hills ride from Wednesday, October 13th. One of the hardest rides I've ever taken with Robin. She's wearing yellow, so you know it's going to be a tough one. But do a 10-minute warm-up beforehand. You'll be good, but super challenging and just a super good workout. And I did that one. That was my weekly date with Jackie to do our live ride together. So
That's
check that
awesome.
one out. Yeah. What do you got?
That's awesome. What have I got? So I have a couple, John. So my top pick of the week was, interestingly enough, Sam Yo's 30-minute Disney Broadway ride. It was fantastic. I have to say the music, I'm a huge Disney fan and I'm a huge Broadway fan, but the way that he structured that class, it was hard as hell. I have to tell you, I was exhausted when I got off the bike. I really felt he did a ton of hills. When they were playing Tarzan, he kind of made us climb up the tree. You felt like you were climbing up the tree like you were Tarzan. But I think that Sam is just this quiet, machine. I forget sometimes how tough some of his rides really are. And, what's funny is he's got the sweet personality. So you don't think they're going to be,
He's got the very chill demeanor.
So you just don't think you're going to get a hard ride, but it was fantastic. So that was back from Thursday. No, excuse me. I believe it was, oh gosh, now I have to just double check.
I think it was Wednesday. Because,
it was Wednesday. Yep.
Yeah. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
I did it on Thursday, but it was from Wednesday the 13th. It was from Wednesday the 13th. And it was definitely my pick of the week. And then I do have to go back to the World Mental Health series that Peloton put out. And I have to say they did an amazing job. And I had mentioned when I spoke about it at the beginning, at the top of the news, that there was some definite spoilers. And sticking with rides, Ben's 20-minute ride that he did, and I'm going to give you the exact, it was back from Saturday the 9th. So October the 9th, it was just a 20-minute recovery ride. And, I know Ben's story, but I think it's amazing when they do take the time to just share their vulnerability on the bike, and it gives you a different perspective. So, for those of you that aren't aware, Ben was given a cancer diagnosis right before he joined Peloton. And, skin cancer. Yep. He was told he had 6 months to live. And isn't that just unbelievable? And here he is today. He took himself, he did whatever he needed to do. And, I think he was even auditioning like right after surgery. I remember him talking about, but just seeing his vulnerability on the bike, it just moved me. It really did move me. And for those that just want to just kind of, move, just kind of move your legs, do that ride. It was fantastic. And I do have to give a shout out to Kendall too. Kendall's 30-minute, mental health day ride was, again, I mean, this was her third one that she's done. I would be remiss in not adding that into the Pics of the Week because, again, just her vulnerability, her rawness was fantastic. Was just amazing to see. So those were my ride picks. I was on the tread. And sticking with that mental health stuff, I did Selena's mental health run. It was a 30-minute run, also from Saturday, back from Saturday the 9th, and beyond. I didn't think it was possible to run and cry at the same time. I don't know if I was crying because I was running or I was crying because of her story, but again, showed her vulnerability. She shared, I want you folks to do it, but kind of a warning, a trigger warning. She lost a partner. Somebody that she had been with had passed away, and she spoke about how being in an incredibly dark place for over a year until she finally came out. And I think it's really important because a lot of us do tend to find, I've been very open, when I started my journey on Peloton, saying that this was the best therapy that I remember back in 2019, I was in Business Insider. I had been interviewed for Business Insider, and one of the things I had said was it was my therapy. Who needs to pay an expensive therapist when you have Peloton? And it does. It gives you an opportunity just to kind of let go. So that was one that I absolutely encourage you guys to do. And then I did dance cardio. Oh my God, John. I did the 20-minute Usher dance cardio, and all I can say is thank God I'm an empty nester and nobody was home, because if anybody had been watching me, they would have been peeing in their pants. I am pathetic. I have no, and I was a dancer. I grew up my whole life doing that. I think I've said on a show before, I was never good at it, but I did it. Oh my God, I was so bad. I was so bad in this, but it was fun. And of course, seeing Usher come on for the last few minutes was worth it was worth its weight in gold.
You're really on top. You're way more on top of the new content than I am. I'm
trying. I'm trying, John.
I need to broaden a little more.
Yeah. So I did it.
I'm always backsliding, not doing enough strength, and this week I did a lot of tread boot camps.
Okay.
I was good on that.
See, I haven't done that
stuff
though.
I was lacking. I didn't do.
I haven't done boot camps. I haven't done boot camps.
I love boot camps.
So that's something that I definitely need to do. And then, as I always do, I will throw in my meditation. And this week's meditation, I am actually going to give the shout out to Anna Greenberg. She did a 10-minute calming meditation that was back from Wednesday, the 13th. And it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed. Just very briefly, because I want to wrap up the show, but unfortunately, my dog got really sick this past week, and I had her at the animal vet hospital, and she had eaten something and ended up throwing up, and then had proceeded not to eat for 3 days, and I was a mess. I've become very attached to her, and I suddenly, my little Oreo. And I have to tell you, I did that 10-minute calming meditation, and it was exactly what I needed. So I know a lot of you have been listening to our Pics of the Week and have started meditation where they hadn't before. And I'm so pleased to hear that because it truly has changed my whole outlook and perspective. So that is it. Lots to share with you guys. Sorry, but it was so much. I'm happy that I'm getting onto the platform more. I'm happy that I'm getting to do more. That was really nice. So there you have it, folks. I guess that is about it. John, anything else? Oh, we had a birthday. Kira Michelle. She celebrated a birthday this past week. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Well,
and I think that's about it.
That wraps it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me here down in Florida, I wish you guys all a great week, and I will see you next week.
Yep. And from me here in Michigan, thank you for always tuning in and listening to us banter or watching us banter for a little while. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Bye for now, everybody.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.